In this program, you'll turn on and off the colors of two RGB or red, green, blue LEDs at the same time. In the void setup, you'll need to set all of the ports that have an RGB LED leg in them as outputs. So you'll use pin mode with the argument to and output to set that first leg of your first LED as an output. And you'll repeat that process for ports 3, 4, 11, 12, and 13. In the void loop, the first thing you'll do is turn on port 2, which will turn on one color of the first RGB LED, and turn on port 13. So you'll turn on one color of your second RGB LED. Because there's no delay between these two functions, this is going to happen instantly, and it'll look like it happens at exactly the same time. With one color on each of the RGB LEDs, you'll run the delay function with an argument of 1000 to pause here for 1000 milliseconds or 1 second with one color of each LED turned on. I'm leaving a blank line in this program to separate the commands of turning on and off the LEDs. This breaks the program into chunks that are easier for me to organize, even though the code doesn't require a blank line and the computer will just ignore it. After we've delayed for 1000 milliseconds with two of our LED colors on, we'll use the digital write function with an argument of 3 and high to turn on LED 3. We'll also use the digital write function 12 and high to turn on the color that is on the second RGB LED and the leg that's plugged into port 12. So now you're going to have two colors mixed on each of your RGB LEDs. The delay function has an argument of 1000, so we'll wait 1000 milliseconds or 1 second with two colors showing on each RGB LED. Next, we'll turn on port 4 and port 11, so now all three colors of both RGB LEDs are lit. A delay of 1000 milliseconds means we'll pause the code here for 1000 milliseconds or 1 second with both RGB LEDs showing white. The second half of this program is turning off the LEDs in the same order you turned them on. So on line 26 here, we'll use the digital write function with the arguments to and low to turn off LED 2. And we'll use the digital write function with arguments 13 and low to turn off LED 13. Now keep in mind, this is just going to turn off a single port, and the RGB LED has 3 ports that are connected to each color it can show. So the LEDs aren't going to turn completely off, it's just going to change the color that is showing. Once we turn off ports 2 and 13, we will actually still have ports 3, 12, 4, and 11 illuminated. So you're still going to have mixed colors on your RGB LED. These next 3 lines of code use the digital write function to turn off port 3 and port 12 and delay 1000 milliseconds or 1 second with those ports off. So now you're just going to have one color of each RGB LED showing. Finally, you'll use the digital write function one more time to turn off port 4 and port 11 and delay 1000 milliseconds with no colors showing on either RGB LED. Then the code is going to reach the closing curly brace of the void loop and jump back up to line 14 and start turning on the colors of your RGB LEDs again.